Guys, it's your Island Girl and I'm back with another reaction video for you tonight. And tonight we are reacting to the story of the tomb of the unknown soldier. So this one came in highly recommended, so we're going to get right into this video. So if you're new to my channel and it's your first time here, come on in, right back, put a smile on your face and enjoy this reaction with the Island Girl. To all my regulars, my schmegglers, my day one, my sweetie pies, my sweetie poos, come on in, right back, put a smile on your face and enjoy. Don't forget to do what? Go into the comment section, tell me what you'd like me to react to next, and it will be done. Before I get into this video, just want to give a big shout out to my two Patreon supporters, that is Leo and Dave R. Thank you for supporting me over on Patreon. Guys, if you wish to support me on Patreon, the link will be in the description below. Alright, without further ado, let's get into this video. Here we go. Story of the unknown soldier.
On November the 7th, 1920, in the strictest secrecy, 4 unidentified British bodies were exhumed from temporary battlefield cemeteries at Ypres, Arras, the Aisne and the Somme, and placed in 4 plain coffins, each covered with a Union flag. None of the soldiers who did the digging were told why. The bodies were taken by field ambulance to the general headquarters at Saint-Paul-sur-Tenoise, and once there the coffins were draped with the Union flag. Sentries were posted, and Brigadier General Wyatt closed his eyes and, moving between the coffins, selected one at random. The other 3 were reburied. A French honour guard was selected from the 8th Infantry, who had recently been awarded the Légion d'honneur en masse, and they stood vigil by the coffin of the chosen soldier overnight. On the morning of the 8th of November, a specially designed oaken coffin made from trees cut from the grounds of Hampton Court Palace arrived, and the unknown soldier was placed inside. The casket was banded with iron, and a medieval crusader's sword, chosen personally by King George V from the royal collection, was fixed on top and surmounted by an iron shield bearing the inscription, "A British warrior who fell in the Great War 1914 to 1918 for king and country." The casket was then placed onto a French military wagon drawn by 6 black horses. Then the mile-long procession, led by 1,000 local schoolchildren and escorted by a division of French troops, made its way down to the harbour, to the sound of the Boulogne church bells, the massed trumpets of the French cavalry and the bugles of the French infantry. There he was saluted by Marshal Foch and carefully carried up the gangway of the destroyer HMS Verdun, bound for Dover, and piped aboard to an admiral's call. The coffin stood on the deck, covered in wreaths, surrounded by the French honour guard. HMS Verdun slipped anchor just before noon, and escorted by 6 battleships, set sail for England. As they passed Dover Castle, the flotilla received a 19-gun Field Marshal's salute. Upon arrival at the docks, the body was placed on a special train in van number 132, which had previously carried the bodies of the beloved nurse Edith Cavell, who had helped 200 Allied prisoners escape from German-occupied Belgium and who was executed by a German firing squad, and Charles Fryatt, a civilian merchant navy captain who was also executed for attempting to ram a U-boat despite being a civilian non-combatant. The train remained at Victoria Station in London overnight, and a plaque still marks the spot between platforms 8 and 9 where every year a small remembrance service takes place. On the morning of the 11th of November 1920, the casket was placed onto a gun carriage of the Royal Horse Artillery and drawn by 6 horses through immense and silent crowds. As the cortege set off, a further Field Marshal salute was fired in Hyde Park. The route followed was past Hyde Park Corner, the Mall, and into Whitehall, where the cenotaph, a symbolic empty tomb, was unveiled by King Emperor George V. The cortege was then followed by the King, the royal family, and ministers of state to Westminster Abbey, where the casket was borne into the west nave of the Abbey, flanked by a guard of honour of 100 recipients of the Victoria Cross, the highest bravery award that can be bestowed on a member of the British Armed Forces. The idea of the unknown soldier came to an army chaplain, David Railton, who had served on the front line during the Great War. He had seen a grave marked by a rough cross while serving on the Western Front, which bore the pencil-written legend, "An unknown British soldier." In his own words, "How that grave caused me to think. But who was he, and who were they, his folk?" There was no answer to those questions, nor has there ever been yet. So I thought, and wrestled in thought. What can I do to ease the pain of the father, mother, brother, sister, sweetheart, wife and friend? Quietly and gradually there came out of the mist of thought this answer, clear and strong. Let this body, this symbol of him, be carried reverently over the sea to his native land.
This one is a heavy hitter. So many lives lost. The unknown, don't know name, but so many lives to protect. This hit so hard, so hard.
And I was happy for a few minutes. He suggested the nation should have a symbolic funeral and burial of an unknown warrior, proposing that the grave should include a national monument. The idea received the support of the Dean of Westminster, Prime Minister David Lloyd George, and later from King George V, responding to a wave of public support. The coffin was then interred in the far western end of the nave of Westminster Abbey, only a few feet from the entrance, in soil bought from each of the main battlefields and covered with a silk pall. Servicemen from the armed forces stood guard as tens of thousands of mourners filed silently past. The guests of honour were a group of about 100 women. They had been chosen because they had each lost their husband and all their sons in the war. The grave was then capped with a black Belgian marble stone, and is the only tombstone in the abbey upon which it is forbidden to walk. It features an inscription engraved on brass from ammunition that had been melted down. Beneath this stone rests the body of a British warrior, unknown by name or rank, brought from France to lie among the most illustrious of the land, and buried here on Armistice Day, 11th of November 1920, in the presence of His Majesty King George V, his ministers of state, the chiefs of his forces, and a vast concourse of the nation. Thus are commemorated the many multitudes who, during the Great War of 1914 to 1918, gave the most that man can give, life itself, for God, for king and country, for loved ones, home and empire, for the sacred cause of justice and the freedom of the world. They buried him among the kings, because he has done good towards God and towards his house. So it is at this time we remember those who died during the Great War and every conflict since by wearing a red poppy. The Remembrance Poppy was inspired by the Canadian physician Lieutenant Colonel John McCree in Flanders Field, with the immortal lines, "In Flanders fields the poppies blow, between the crosses row on row." So at 11 a.m. on the 11th of November each year, we remember with humility the great and ultimate sacrifices that were made, not just in this war, but in every war and conflict where our service personnel have fought, to ensure the liberty and freedoms we now take for granted. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
Where do I start? Where do I begin? What do I say? Just watching this right here speaks volumes. Just watching this right here speaks volume. Honestly, guys, I don't even know what to say. It's wow. You stop and you think so many times that why would they give up their life? Why would they? What were they thinking? But they don't even know you or I or ancestors, or they don't know who they're fighting for so that we can stand tall and be free. But they did it, and they, without hesitation, and I'm positive they would do it again. Unknown, we don't know their name, but I know that a lot of us are grateful and thankful. Oh, shucks. My heart is so heavy. The military lifestyle is one of so hard to their honor, their heart, they were fearless, fighting next to the person beside them that they don't even know their name, but they did it with pride. Unknown. What a story. What a story. That's it from your island girl, guys. Don't forget to go into comment section. Tell me what you'd like me to react to next, because it will be done. I love you guys, and I'll get you guys in another video. Bye.